Zach, but Jamie, a huge game here that as we transition from that brutal 5-game stretch, this is like the bridge to after this. You've got the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. And if the Eagles can take care of business tonight, all of a sudden you feel pretty good. But given the way that this week has gone at the NovaCare complex and all the dysfunction that has sort of come to light, I'm not so sure how good you should be feeling. How are you feeling?
I don't know what the hell's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know how to feel anymore, and we're working on the audio issue if you can or can't hear me. Okay, there we go. I think we're back, according to Gene. So thank you to everybody being in here. Bo, I don't know what the hell is going on. This is one of the weirdest weekends in recent Eagles memory, and I think everything's going to be okay. I think, and I emphasize the word I think. When you have anonymous sources going to the media about an offensive struggle when the defense has allowed 12 straight touchdowns on possessions, more or less, or 11, whatever it was, you got a locker room that's pretty weird because the defense can't stop anything. The offense looked better if it wasn't for some weird turnovers last week. It really seems like it's like the Spider-Man meme where everybody's pointing fingers around in a weird way. Like,
well, we found out who got the most fingers pointed at them. Essentially, we got there is a legitimate answer to who was the scapegoat, right?
So Kevin Byard, on Thursday or Friday, it comes out that they want to do the scouting reports themselves, and then 2 days later, Sean Desai, because in that he still referred to Sean Desai as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
and then a day later, he's not. And Matt Patricia, one of the most overrated defensive minds in the NFL in recent memory, is the answer. I don't know how to feel about this team. It's bizarro world.
It is overly dramatic. It feels like for a 10-3 team.
Yes,
right?
Very much so.
And it reminds me. It's like, you know, there's like memes of like, oh, like, you know, I love her, but she's just addicted to drama. It's like that is the Eagles. The Eagles are addicted to drama. They cannot help themselves. And, you know, some of this is in pursuit of winning a Super Bowl at all costs. And, right, that's what you want your team to care about. However, in the long run, like this level of tumult in like a season-by-season basis, unless you're going like, 15-1, it's a little bit
unsustainable.
Yes, I think that's the right word. That's the word that I was looking for.
Yeah, I think, victory is the best cologne. And maybe there was some internal concerns during the winning streak. And then 2 games in a row kind of broke the camel's back, and it all maybe came out a little bit. I found the Darius Slay stuff. And yes, I will call him Darius Slay. I don't have to call him Slay.
I think you can call him Darius Slay. You just don't call him Darius.
Yeah, okay.
Just Darius he doesn't like. Yeah.
Well, the Darius stuff was a little weird. Slay. Like, if I'm another defensive back in that room, or I'm Reed Blankenship playing 113 snaps,
right,
and I'm going, oh, you played good, but we're the problem? Like, this is where the finger-pointing stuff gets a little... I hope they can stop it tonight, because tonight is, like, the test, right? A team you haven't beaten in, 16 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
On the road, tough environment, maybe a little bit of rain. We'll get the weather report soon.
We'll get our weather correspondent Zach Berman will be with us soon. But
he's a big time nature photographer now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we got to talk to him about that because the replies to his photos have been very funny and all like in like really nice, earnest, good faith. Not like mean.
No, not at all.
Oh, Zach, I really we got to get you a new potato.
Are you taking pictures with your microwave?
But you mentioned Slay. Slay is not playing tonight.
Nope.
Zach Cunningham is not playing tonight. Cam Jurgens is not playing tonight. We'll get to the offense in a bit, but for a defense that, with Sean Desai in charge, has really struggled in the middle of the field and in the secondary over the past couple weeks, they're going to be without Darius Slay. That means probably Kelee Ringo. We'll hear from Zach, but probably Kelee Ringo and Bradley Roby and James Bradbury having to cover DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Deep breaths.
And Jackson Smith and Jigba. Not ideal.
Not the most encouraging feeling in the world. All that being said, I think this team is going to answer.
Well, I guess we'll find out. But let's before we do that, let's talk to Zach Berman, who is with us from Seattle. Zach, how are you?
Great. Good to see you guys. I love the big game feeling here. There's a juice to this game. It's been a busy, 24, 36 hours. But now we get to see it on the field.
So I guess we should start with the quarterbacks because those are the most important positions, Zach. Certainly sounds like Jalen Hurts is going to start and play in this game. What is your understanding of what the last sort of 48 hours have been like for him and this decision-making process for the Eagles?
Sure. Well, clearly dealing with an illness. Traveled separately from the team. You saw John Clark from NBC Sports Philadelphia had the footage of him boarding his own, I don't want to say his own aircraft, a separate aircraft than the rest of the team. He was not out there at the initial part of warm-ups tonight, but then joined everyone else. And when you're watching pregame warm-ups, you don't see anything notably different than in other weeks. So if you didn't know the context, you wouldn't have known that he was ill just from watching the pregame warm-ups. Of course, it's not too laborious at that point, but clearly this was something that was in question. When I left the facility on Saturday, I was there for practice. I was there in the locker room. The presumption was that this was just, they were being cautious. He missed this day. He'll be back the next day and travel with the team. And then when you find out on Sunday, my days are all kind of linked together here. When you find out on Sunday that he was downgraded to questionable, that he has to fly separately, you say, "Oh, this is something. Like this isn't nothing." But here we are, game time. He's in uniform. He's doing more than Geno Smith is, and he'll be out there starting for the Eagles.
And so, what is your guess as to what the Seahawks are going to do?
Yeah, based on the pregame warm-ups, I was watching the Seahawks side. It looks like it's going to be Drew Lock at quarterback for the Seahawks.
Yikes. I say yikes because if they lose to a Drew Lock-led team with the kind of tumultuousness of this locker room right now, that's a sign things aren't going great. Zach, what is your sense? Kevin, I was just telling Bo on Thursday or Friday, Kevin Byard referred to Sean Desai as the defensive coordinator. We want to self-scout. He's allowing us to do that. And then boom, Saturday, Matt Patricia's in here. Can you walk us through, with your best knowledge, what you think is actually in play here tonight? Is it 100% on Patricia on the sidelines? What is your, inside take here on what Desai is going to be doing?
Like, I can't answer that last part. I don't quite know what Desai's going to be doing. But the first part of the question, I can't answer. Matt Patricia's going to be calling the defense. This is going to be Matt Patricia in charge of the defense tonight. He's down on the sideline. I saw him on the sideline in pregame. He has the pencil, by the way. At least in pregame, he had the pencil in the ear.
It's a terrible sign.
So I wish he went pencilless.
Yeah.
It's raining tonight. There's the old high school sports writer trick that you don't write in pen, you write in pencil on the paper when it rains. But if it's laminated, as I believe Seth Wickersham wrote in his Outstanding Patriots book, then it doesn't necessarily matter. I have to turn around. There might be like coaches walking by me here. But point being that, this is Matt Patricia as not the defense coordinator by title, but certainly the defensive coordinator by action tonight. To the second part of the question about Sean, I don't quite know. I don't have a good answer for you. Pre-game, I saw him down there. He was on the field like normal. I'm not going to read much into any conversations, but he was going around the defense. I don't know what his responsibility and role is going to be in the booth tonight. I can tell you that the post-game press conference with Nick is going to be interesting, and I can promise you that when I come on the post-game show, I will have information from Nick Sirianni. This is not one of those nights when I'm skipping the Sirianni press conference.
Zach, before just to jump in on Bo here, do you think this came from above Nick Sirianni's head?
You know me, I don't like to speculate, but just knowing the history of the organization, I mean, it's something that you can't rule out, given that, and I said it on our show this morning, that in 2020, January 2020, I was there when Doug Peterson said, Mike Rowe's coming back, Carson Walsh is coming back.
Yeah.
And then the change is made. I was there at that video conference on Tuesday this week when Nick Sirianni said no changes, right? And that, and I heard him last week, basically say Sean Desai has this job because I believe in him, right? So for them to make this type of change, I can't tell you the inner machinations. Something I'm going to try to find out more about, but clearly something changed between the time that we heard that and what happened here.
Zach, do you think that the Seahawks quarterback obfuscation in this matchup is a direct response to the Eagles defensive coordinator gamesmanship?
I don't. I mean, first off, the fact that Geno's active, right? They wouldn't burn an active spot, but
Yeah, they might.
They're probably hoping they're probably hoping he could play. I don't know, the gamesmanship part of it. Come on, and I have a quick anecdote. Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Seahawks. I was covering a Virginia USC football game in 2008, and Al Groh wasn't naming his starting quarterback. And I went to the USC practice on Friday, and I asked Pete Carroll at that practice, basically, how is this gamesmanship going to affect your plans? And he kind of like shrugged. He's like, we're going to be fine no matter what. And they won that game by 50 points. So I think that
what a good
at some point here, these coaches can overthink that stuff. Yeah.
Where are you? What
is going on?
You mean the background noise?
Yeah,
who's
around? Are you at the circus?
That's the PA announcer. They pump in the PA sound everywhere you go.
Is she 14?
So I have my AirPods in, so I actually can't hear because I'm on silent mode. But I was trying to find, I left the press box to try to find a quiet place. I thought I would find a quiet place, but this is not quiet. The light, if you can see, no, you can't see. I tried to find a view, couldn't really find a view, but you got a good SI piece behind me, written by Peter King. I remember that one. There was an SI piece over here, written by Greg Bishop. So they got terrific work around here. I'm trying to get that to rub off on me a bit.
All right, a couple game-specific questions from what you've seen. One, give us the weather report, and two, give us the replacement starters who, to your expectation at least, for Darius Slay, Zach Cunningham, and Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, based on pregame warm-ups, it's as we expected. Kelee Ringo was out there as the first-team corner. He was playing on my left side, the defense's right side. Zach Cunningham, who's not playing, as we know. Shaq Leonard was in his spot with Nicholas Morrow at linebacker. Sua Opeta was at right guard with the first-team defense. So that's what you got there. The weather, it was coming down pretty hard. Now, when I got to the stadium, it was not raining. But it started raining while it was going on. Dave Zingaro from NBC Sports Philly, who does pregame hits on the field, we got to work that angle. I got to find a way to get on the field to do these pregame hits. That would be a great background. But Dave Zingaro came up, he's sitting next to me, and he was soaking wet. So it's come down hard out there. But you kind of expect that for a game in Seattle, I suppose.
So Zach, if I was making you offensive coordinator tonight, the Seattle has some pretty good young cornerbacks. What would your attack on this defense be?
Well, so about that, by the way, Devin Witherspoon inactive for the Seahawks. That's a big absence. Jamal Adams also inactive. for the Seahawks. So they're missing. Now Jamal Adams has been inconsistent, but they're missing two key pieces in their secondary, and that ties into the answer to your question. And this, I'm kind of a broken record with this, and it's probably not the answer that Eagles fans like to hear, but they got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I like their matchups in this game. I would take advantage of that. I think that's where they can really push the Seahawks. The Seahawks play more zone than any team in the NFL, so you need to have zone beaters. But I think you have guys who can beat that. Now, that said, a little color for you. The run the ball sign, that got all that attention that was outside NovaCare. Well, on the sideline, there was an Eagles fan who decided to bring a run the ball sign to the sideline of pregame warmups, right? So this is how passionate some fans are about the need to run the ball. But I do think Eagles have some mismatches on the edge, especially with Witherspoon out.
All right, Zach, which was your favorite response on Twitter to your grainy long-distance photos of Sean Desai, Jason Peters, and Fletcher Cox?
I have to go. I didn't go through all of them. There were quite a few.
They're very funny.
I can tell you my favorite, Zach.
Yeah.
It was these guys look like they're figures in Double Dragon on Nintendo.
Okay, I mean, I'm genuinely asking for feedback here from the audience. I'm in the press box. Press boxes of these stadiums are six sections up. I'm trying to take a photo.
People want to know if it's like a Nokia that you have, like a BlackBerry, like a.
I have a high quality iPhone here. Okay, like this is it's not the latest edition, but it's near the latest edition. The photo is great. The more you zoom in, though, the more grainy it becomes. Someone told me that you shouldn't zoom in. You should take the photo and then crop it, like you zoom in that way. That didn't work. I got great advice from our friend Marissa about taking it through the binoculars. I don't know how these people take it through the binoculars. I tried holding my binoculars up, my camera behind there. That didn't work. Okay. Someone told me that there needs to be some type of like apparatus that I put on my phone. I mean, I'm trying not to give anyone heart attacks with my expense reports as it is. I think if I add that on, that might be a more of an issue. So I got to figure out and trying to post good photos here on social media. The best solution would be to get a field pass. I don't have a field pass. So short of that, I'm trying to figure out what to do in these final 3 games to get the photos that are necessary for our audience.
All right. What's the last thing, Zach? What's the spread? We haven't done a spread talk in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And
Jimmy Kempski was complimentary.
And because the Eagles do not go to Seattle very often, we're curious.
Yeah, so they had a really good salad bar, right? Like,
I'm sorry. Are you at a football game or a concert?
Yeah, this woman needs to like chill out.
Really good salad bar. They have the fresh vegetables. They have the actual like grated Parmesan cheese. I like that. They were cutting up the pork. Jimmy Kempski really liked the apple chutney. I don't really know much about apple chutney. It's like apple pieces that you put on the pork. You know, do that. I just kind of stuck to the salad
chutney
bar.
Taking a stray.
Yeah. And then but it's what people like about Seattle is they have is it a barista or barista? Barista in the press box. Okay. So I'm not a big coffee guy, but there's a huge line.
A barista. That's big grades right there.
In the coffee place, in the press box. It's a very Seattle thing. I love coming here. Great stadium, great city. I mean, this is the Eagles haven't been here.
What is going on?
Eagles
Hey, Zach, before you leave.
Eagles haven't been here since I was 17. Shout out to listener Michael. I was on, Michael took me on a tour of the Amazon Spheres today. That was an awesome experience. So I have enjoyed being out here, but the highlight is what happens during these next 3 hours.
All right, this is I believe a perfect reflection of the week that the Eagles have had. So thank you for giving us that, Zach, and we will talk to you in the post-game show after the game.
At least we know the audio is working, though, right? Like you hear everyone, so that's great. I look forward to the post game. It's gonna be awesome.
See you,
All right.
Zach.
Thanks, Zach. That was a trip.
Wow. What is it? That was something. What was that woman? 12?
Bless his heart.
It sounded like something like out of like.
It sounded
Snoopy.
like the Charlie Brown teacher. a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
And it was
stuff.
constant.
Nonstop.
Why didn't she just take a breath? Is that really getting the people of Seattle going?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. All right. We talked a little bit about the defense.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a lot of time to talk about the Matt Patricia of it all in the post-game show.
Sure.
We'll see how this game goes. It has been set up for the Eagles defense to rebound in these games. We'll see how that goes. On offense, you've got Jalen Hurts playing through a sickness. Are you of the run the ball tilt in this matchup?
I just don't think you can ever abandon it. I think it being ineffective at times can be obvious, but I don't think that's ever a reason to abandon it because I think you allow the defense to kind of get set and know what's coming. And I think once the defense knows what's coming, it's easier to defend. So I just think you can never abandon it because you want to keep that defense on their toes. And the most confusing part of this team this year, I think, the more I thought about it this week, was this team was their bread and butter was the RPO, PRO, whatever you want to call it, that variation in Jalen Hurts being, I don't know if it's the injury to Hurts, if it was the Shane Steichen effect and going to Brian Johnson, it's still Sirianni's offense. I don't know where that's gone. Like they barely use it. And
it's not effective. It's not as effective.
I guess I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's funny. I have always thought that the Shane was the offensive mastermind stuff was very overblown.
Mm-hmm.
Like that this was really Nick Sirianni's offense. Maybe Shane was a good play caller, but if that was the case, I think the way that these two seasons played out, like the way that he's making things work in Indianapolis with bit parts, and the way that the Eagles offense has taken a step back.
And Anthony Richardson looked great when he was healthy.
Right. Like, maybe there was more to that than I was willing to believe.
Yeah, I just don't know why they'd abandon it unless it's maybe injury related to Hurts or whatever. But like that was to me an unstoppable play. And I don't know if it's the league catching up to them and taking that away from them. But there hasn't been that counterpunch now in a couple of weeks where offensively they've really kind of clicked. So, I don't think you can ever abandon the run. I'm not a guy that would go down to the NovaCare at 5:30 in the morning with a sign, but I admire the heart.
Sure.
But yeah, I just think once you go one way only, the defense knows, and I think you lose an advantage offensively. Not saying you can't pass.
Once you go pass, I don't know. I can't finish it.
You get the gas.
Okay. Let's go to your best bets, Jamie, because we know you've been rolling all season long. You've been making our listeners so much money. What are your two best bets tonight?
So my first best bet tonight was Dallas Goedert over 40.5. And I sent this into Andrew earlier when I thought the possibility that Mariota was going to be playing. I like it either way, but I especially liked it if it was Mariota because, usually shitty quarterbacks love the tight end. So that was my thinking there. But with Hurts and his diarrhea or whatever he's got going on, I still like it. They, as Zach said, they play a lot of zone. There's going to be a lot of those pockets within 7-8 yards that Jalen Hurts has to find. So I think Dallas Goedert will go over that 40.5. And Zach Charbonnet is quickly overtaking Kenneth Walker. He outrushed him last week. He's kind of been, a hot commodity for them this year, and I think it's his time to shine. His over-under on rushing yards is only 31.5.
Right.
I'll take that he can get 32. So those are mine.
Okay. I am going with, what do I have here? I am going with Tyler Lockett.
I feel like he always kills the Eagles.
I thought about going Lockett and Metcalf and just going both, and because I think there's a good chance I do both at the over. But I went with Lockett. His number's a little bit lower. I think the Eagles will have a more specific plan for DK Metcalf than they will for Tyler Lockett, and so I'm going with Lockett. And then I'm sticking on Jalen Carter, who has slowed down significantly of late, but all I need is a half sack there against an interior for the Seahawks offensive line, which is not their strong suit. So give me Jalen Carter. There you go.
I like that. Tyler Lockett, I feel like, is one of those guys that just kills the Eagles.
Yes, feels that way. So does pretty much the whole Seahawks team, as you talked about.
Yeah.
All right. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff, Jamie. Let's settle in. What's your
this is a tough
What's your
one.
feeling for this one?
My feeling's not great. I'll be honest. A sick quarterback, probably your best secondary player. You can make the case Slay or Blankenship versus some pretty talented wide receivers. This weirdness going on with Sean Desai and Matt Patricia. I don't feel great about it, but I think the character of this locker room will supersede Drew Lock. I think this is going to be the first time they beat Seattle Seahawks in a long time. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I'm going to go 28-20.
Okay.
28-20 Birds. And it's going to be a roller coaster.
For me, I think the way that this week has gone gives you significant pause as an Eagles fan. But more than any of that, it comes back to the curse of Christian Ellis. Since the Eagles waived Christian Ellis, they have not won a game. Their linebackers continue to miss time. They certainly could use a linebacker. Meanwhile, Albert Okwuegbunam is inactive as the fourth tight end once again, doing a lot of good work for the Eagles as his contract is set to expire this offseason. The curse continues, and the tumult just continues on into the holiday season as the Eagles prepare for Tommy Cutlets next week. The Seahawks win this game 33-24.
Spicy. Now,
although, I don't know, this rain maybe is going to make it a weirder game than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose to Drew Lock at this stage of the season,
There's so much on the line.
It was never meant to be.
Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. Look forward to the game. I think we're going to learn a lot about this Eagles team tonight. We're going to learn whether they have that ability to flip the switch, whether the last 2 weeks were more of a product of the gauntlet schedule a little bit. Is this team for real? Are they serious? We're going to find out if they're serious tonight, and I look forward to talking about it after the game. So for Jamie and Andrew and Zach and all the millions of people who were chattering around Zach as he was talking to us, we thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you after the game. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.